Okay, so coming up, we have the panel Q&A. We haven't done an introduction for Ken yet, so let's do him. Ken Puls is FCPA, FCMA. He's the president of Excel Guru Consulting Incorporated, a company dedicated to helping users get the most out of their data. His passion lies in exploring tools to turn data into information and teaching others how to benefit from them. Ken is a blogger, software developer, author, and trainer with over 20 years of corporate accounting and IT experience. He is one of the world's leading experts in Microsoft Excel, Power Query, and Power BI, and provides live and online training to clients around the world. In recognition of his contributions, Ken has held the prestigious Microsoft MVP distinction since 2006 in both the Excel and data platform categories. So I'm going to play a charity video, and then Ken is going to be joined by Bill Jelen and John Peltier, and also our very own Ilgar. But first, the charity video.
Hello, I'm Catherine Newitt, and on behalf of Some Product, Microsoft, the MVPs and other technology experts, welcome to Excel Virtually Global 2025. And remember, it's for charity. Now, you may have looked around our website already, but I'm not sure you've noticed all the words, so let me take a moment to run a few past you. Microsoft's most valued professionals, or MVPs, are technology experts who passionately share their knowledge with the community. They're always on the bleeding edge and have an unstoppable urge to get their hands on new, exciting technologies. This virtual conference, now in its 11th year, presents Excel, Data Platform, and PowerPoint MVPs, together with other acknowledged experts from Microsoft and/or around the globe, to present, answer questions, and demonstrate the future of Excel and how it will make your life easier, both personally and professionally. Most sessions will be recorded, so you may watch them later on the Some Product YouTube channel. There are no medals for staying up to watch the entire event live. From your own favourite chair, bring a laptop, an inquisitive mind, and your sense of humour. Be prepared to learn. And remember, it's for charity. The presenters have all kindly donated their time to make this as informative and entertaining an event as possible. Therefore, we would be grateful if you could make a donation to a charity of your choice and advise us in US dollars how much you pledged, as we'd love to keep track and keep you updated. This is an honesty thing. Whatever you do, it will simply be between you and your conscience. If you'd like to tell us what you've donated, could you please use the QR code on screen now or type in the bit.ly link at the bottom, remembering it's case sensitive. That's bit.ly/EVG2025 charity. Thanks for listening and enjoy Excel Virtually Global 2025.
Okay, as usual, we're having some technical issues. So at the moment, we've got Ken and Bill and Ilgar, but no John. So let's try putting those live, and we'll see if we can hear John, because then he can join in the chat. Just get rid of that big screen there. Yeah, I don't actually have the option to do anything for you, unfortunately. John? Let me just see. I'll just have a quick look, see if I can sort it out, John. I'll just get you started with the first question, as you seem to guess. Bill seems to have disappeared at the moment as well. Hopefully he'll come back in a moment.
A lot of pressure in the session if it's just on me and Ilgar, I tell you. Holy cow.
I think Bill's there. He's just not got his camera on. I think so, anyway.
He's being shy.
Anyway, we'll start.
It's funny. I can see myself on the preview.
I can't see you on the preview. Can anyone else see
Yeah,
Bill?
I can't see it, Bill. I was kind of wondering if you're just being shy after our little soccer match that we had last week.
Maybe
You didn't want to show your face or something.
No, I can't see your camera. Teams is being lovely today.
Okay, so here
I'll let you see my face in the other bit.
Camera's on.
You know who you're talking to.
Camera's on.
Bill, you'll just be the voice from on high with Excel, man. We'll just. It's all good.
Oh, I see over in the preview. Yeah, on my preview, I'm down there at the bottom. It's all black.
Right. So the first question, as we know, it's Excel's 40th birthday. So what's been your favorite Excel feature in the last 40 years, and where do you see it going in the next 40 years? Nice open question for you. And should we start off with Ken, since we can see Ken?
All right. Well, I think anybody that knows me well knows that that's a really easy question for me to answer. My favorite feature has to be Power Query. That completely changed the game and allowed me to unlock a lot of the stuff that happens in Excel as far as Power Pivot goes, as far as, just reducing the amount of time to get data in from a garbage state into a proper state and whatnot. So yeah, I undoubtedly that is the number one piece that is the most important to me. Where do I see it going in the next 40 years? Man, I'm not going to make a prediction on that kind of stuff. It's too difficult to do these days. Obviously things are changing with where we see AI going right now. 40 years from now, I don't even know if the program's going to look even close to what it does today. If will actually eventually, pass on the whole thing and it becomes irrelevant. I don't even know. I certainly hope that that's not the case. I hope that it sticks around for a long time because honestly, I really enjoy using it. But yeah, it's a tough thing to look 40 years in the future in a computing technology, I think.
That's a great answer. Ilgar, what are your thoughts?
Actually, to be honest, there are a lot of great, features in Excel, but I will go on with dynamic arrays, and then Python in Excel. These are my two great, Excel features.
Okay, Bill, I'm just sending John live, but it seems to be pausing. I think John's breaking the whole session.
Oh, John's breaking things again.
He's turned up on the camera. I can see him, but it's just saying the event will continue in a moment. And the send live is just going around in circles at the moment.
If you can hear me, I'll tell you how much I love Teams.
I can hear you, John.
I can hear John.
I can hear you.
Right, we'll try that again. It's giving me the send live back again.
I don't even know what this screen looks totally.
Got you.
There we go.
Wow.
Right.
Sorry about that. It's literally just gremlins here.
Okay, this is a strange day though, where John shows up on screen and Bill doesn't. That's weird. Like normally, I kind of expect this kind of thing when talking to John. Teams hates him for whatever reason, but it's generally been a little nicer to Bill.
So.
Oh no, you're not frozen on our side, John.
No, you're good. You're good, John.
Okay. Well, it's all right. Now it's back. Okay.
Okay. So the question: what's our favorite feature in the last 40 years?
Yes.
Is that
where
we are?
Where do you see it going in the next 40 years?
Yeah. So the new thing that just came out like the day before the 40th anniversary with the agent mode. That's the first Copilot-ish thing I've seen that actually works, and it's really impressive, and it does things that better than I would have done. And usually I get formulas from Copilots like, oh yeah, okay, that would have worked. But like this agent mode is really thorough. Now it's going to burn the planet down, as I've learned from Ken. But if they get that, if smoothed out a little bit, that really changes everything. I think the agent mode.
Okay, John, did you give your full answer there?
No, I missed half the question while I was trying to get back into the meeting.
Oh, no, that's fair enough. I don't mind asking again. I was talking about it being Excel's 40th birthday.
Yes.
And what your favorite feature is so far and where you see it going in the next 40 years.
Wow, that's a big topic. Of the recent advances, I'd have to say the dynamic arrays is easily one of the the best features. You can do so much with them. They make a lot of things possible that were so difficult before. And just being able to write one formula that spills as large as you need, and then subsequent formulas don't have to link to a big blank worksheet in case that the data spills, in case the data fills further. You just link to that formula, and it just makes working with data. I mean, it makes charts dynamic more easily than before. It's just a very nice feature to have added. If you want to go over the whole 40 years, lately there have been a few people talking about how great tables are, and most of them get it wrong because they say, well, tables came out in Excel 2000, what did they say, 2007, and it was such a great advance, but tables came out in 2003. Tables were the best feature in Excel 2003, but they weren't called tables yet. They were called lists. But that, in my opinion, was the killer feature of Excel 2003. I don't know what else came out that year, but and I know there were a bunch of neat things, but I will say that lists, which became tables, is the best. And it actually took Microsoft a few iterations to get tables right. 2003 was like a rough draft. 2007 they were pretty good. 2010 they were reworked dramatically, and we're still waiting for the equivalent of a similar rework for some of the things that still don't work exactly right. But despite
I think there's a lot
flaws,
of features we're waiting for that don't work exactly right, John. But...
Yes, but now instead of all these fixed features, we got Copilot, right? So
I'm glad it didn't come from me.
Yes, and I mean, Ken loves Copilot. The only thing that he misses about Copilot is there's no button to turn it off. Right?
Yeah, well. Let me say, so Bill, you called out agent mode, and I recently I had a chance to play with it, and when we talk about where's the next 40 years of Excel going, it's undeniably impressive, some of the stuff that this thing does. I mean, I built a fairly complicated break-even analysis and thought, hey, I wonder what agent mode will do with this. And so I was very easily able to test the results of the prompt that I built on it. And, it took 15 minutes churning away, guzzling down water to try and get itself all, ready and built and whatever. But what it put together was incredibly impressive. It leaves me very conflicted because, I look at things and I mean, as some of my friends know, I mean, I am concerned about waste and what we're doing to the environment as we're building these things. But holy cow, I mean, the quality of what it turned out was actually pretty good. I just wish it could do it, honestly, a whole lot faster than what it did, so it burns less CPU compute. But boy, oh boy, it certainly makes you look at things going, what is the future of this product? Where's it going? How much of this, is going to be changing? And I don't know. It's scary times in a lot of ways.
Well, I think scary for us, right? Because we've spent the last 20 years teaching people how to use this stuff, and now they can just go type a prompt and get something better than watching 2 hours of one of our classes. Which
maybe, but don't you feel that there's still some need there to actually have the skill set to be able to go and validate the results? I mean, I think I've seen somewhere that agent mode proudly announces that it gets things right in 57.1% of use cases or something like that, which sounds an awful lot to me. Like there's about 40% there, just over 40% where it gets wrong. And I mean, this is one of those things around working with AI tools in general is, I mean, as you pointed out, I mean, years ago when we were first working with ChatGPT, the commentary that we sort of get back is this sycophantic machine that comes back and it always has an answer for everything. It explains it, and then you realize afterward that it's complete BS. And I don't know. This is one of the things that really concerns me around teams working with AI and embracing this and just jumping onto it is you need to verify the results. And in order to verify the results, that's going to require a certain level of skill, which still requires training, right? So I'm cautious around the benefits here because I've seen things go horribly wrong. And I mean, I'm sure you have as well, because you've been playing with it too.
Sure, yeah. Especially straight Copilot writing formulas. I mean, those formulas sometimes work and sometimes don't work. Or even, 2 breakout sessions. 9 o'clock, I'll do the prompt, and at 10:15, I'll do the prompt and get a completely different answer. Like, no, this isn't counting, for God's sakes. It has to be the same answer. Well, it should be the same answer every time.
John, you have a thought?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got my hand raised. Bill, you test it again and again and get different answers. I always get the same answer, which is I can't access Copilot on my machine. They even gave me a free license to practice with it, and it's incompatible with the tenant that I have. And I've spent so much time over the years trying to get tenants working. I am not going to risk breaking another tenant just for Copilot.
Right. Yeah. Somehow we end up with so
I
many
haven't
different
seen
Microsoft
I haven't seen
sign-ons.
enough chatter. Everybody says how great it is, but mostly it's platitudes, and in between that is people complaining about it. And it's like, okay, I don't really need to get too involved in this. I have enough other work that I have to do. I have paying work I have to do.
Ilgard, do you
Anyway.
have thoughts on this that you want to throw into the mix as well? Oh, I think you're on mute.
You're on mute, okay.
Sorry. Regarding Copilot in Excel, Copilot function in Excel, actually, when it appeared a few months ago, if I'm not mistaken, 2 months ago, I used this function only just for one time. I was successful in using this function, but after that, I'm trying to implement, to use this function to make some videos, but I'm not successful in it. Always I'm getting a blocked error message. So I don't know the reason, but so this is what I can tell about Copilot function in Excel.
I think it's still got a rough onboard, honestly, with some of these things. And I think that one of the big components that I find really interesting is, if I need to reach out to an AI engine to go and draft some text or whatever else, I find myself far more likely to go out to a different engine, ChatGPT or Claude AI or something like that, not use the tool that's built into the software. And I think a lot of that is because historically in Excel, the experience has been so incredibly poor that it's going to have to do an awful lot to woo me back over. Agent mode is quite interesting, but I was testing that through Excel for Web. But one of the things that I really question with the way that Microsoft has sort of done some of these things is that they've got this dependence on files being stored in the Microsoft ecosystem with OneDrive and things like that require a little bit of IT work behind the scenes in order to get all that stuff set up and working. And John, for you, you're a one-man shop. You're trying to deal with this. You got tenant issues and whatever else, and it completely kills the entire process. Like you sit there and go, like, how much am I going to fight to try and get into a machine to try and to deal with this stuff? Whereas going out to a ChatGPT or a Claude or something like that, or Perplexity or whatever is so easy. And it's not going to make your file for you or necessarily put everything in there, but you know what? Honestly, in my opinion, a lot of these AI tools should actually be used in small blocks anyway, to go and deal with, let me build this small component and then go and implement it, rather than saying, go build me the entire darn thing, right? Because trying to maintain one of those is a lot bigger job anyway. So that's my thoughts on some of that anyway. But
okay. In the Q&A, we've had some questions now. Someone you may know, Jan Corral. He's asking, if you had the money to fund the fix of one issue in Excel, what would it be?
And I just responded.
What was your answer, John?
I said that what they should do is, so back in about 2015, well, in fact, it was earlier than that, but they started working on a new chart engine, and they started making public some of what they had done in about 2015, and Excel 2016 had some charts which were based on the new chart engine, including, the first ones that came out were, I guess, the box plots and the waterfall charts, plus the map charts. And soon after those came out, they added a few more charts, but they never finish with the chart engine, and there's stuff that you can't do with those charts that you can do with any other chart. And in fact, those charts, I feel that the ones that I make by hand using the old Excel charting infrastructure are much better than the ones that are now built into Excel. And I wish they would finish the work on that. And what it was going to be was really fabulous. Give you a lot more flexibility in making and laying out your charts. But that's one thing that I really wish they would do. And I don't know if I had the money to fix that, maybe I would just retire early. But I mean, there's that. There's other things I wish they would fix too, but that's the big one that bothers me.
I'm curious, Ilgar, what would be your number one issue?
Maybe my answer will be a little bit different, but I remember that a few years ago, it was roughly in 2013 or 14, 15 in these years. In some companies in Azerbaijan, people were using Excel, for example, they were using large data sets. For example, let's imagine that there are more than 300 or 400,000 rows in data set. In this case, Excel wasn't working properly. Always it was it was thinking a lot. So of course, I know that there are some other solutions, but anyway, would be great to make, to solve this issue, like to make Excel work faster with, for example, dataset that covers more than 400 or 500,000 rows. So this is what the point that I would go on with this one. If, of course, I had money, I would fix this issue.
Bill, how about yourself?
Okay, so it's the feature that I controversially refuse to use, and that's tables. And I just wish they would fix tables. Like, why can't I copy two sheets from a workbook if one of them has a table to another workbook? Like, that's just a stupid limitation. And I have problems with running totals in tables. I just wish they would fix all those table bugs that everyone talks about.
Bill, tables was my second one.
Okay. All right, good. I'm glad.
I feel like Bill's got look, I'm just trying to give you the reasonable budget because mine is not reasonable, right? Like, I mean, I want to see Power Pivot brought up to speed, right? And I mean, I know that is a massive investment. I want to see the VBA become feature complete for Power Pivot. I want to see the Office Scripts object model exist for Power Pivot. I want Power Pivot to catch up to what we have in Power BI. Like, I found, after Power Query, I mean, why Power Query was the most important thing for me in the history of Excel was because it actually allowed me to reshape my data to get it ready for Power Pivot, which allowed me to actually go and do reporting the way I needed to do. And unfortunately, since 2016, Power Pivots just kind of got stuck in the mud. And it's a shame when you see how far Power BI and how quickly Power BI has been iterating to add all these new things. And there's good old Power Pivot just sitting back there chugging away until it doesn't and falls over and kills Excel. But then we restart Excel and it goes. But man, oh man, if I mean, to be fair, if I had the money to do that, I would retire. But I would hope that Microsoft would invest it in that area. But I know it's a pretty big gnarly problem. So that'd be mine. You can have your tables. I want the data model.
Okay, so let's do the opposite. Oh, this is gonna be so controversial. They're wasting so much budget on Excel Online, right? And why? Like Google Sheets is going to beat us, so we need to race to the bottom to get an online version of a spreadsheet that's as bad as Google Sheets. And right, and why? Because you already have Win32 that runs circles around it. But since the data model doesn't run in Excel Online, they're going to hide it until no one's using it. And I don't know. I think Excel Online is really just
well, one big push for Excel Online was co-authoring, but they've made co-authoring sort of work with desktop, right?
Yeah, co-authoring in desktop actually works fairly well, providing your file is stored in OneDrive. I actually use it not infrequently here. It does work. So yeah, I mean, the amount of time that I go to Excel Online is Well, usually it's because I've clicked a link in my email and I've forgot to reconfigure the application to open it in desktop instead of the online version.
So there's a button where you can download it to you. Or open it in
I
desktop.
know. I reconfigured it, so now all my links open in the proper desktop version of the program, right? But you know, but yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, I kind of laugh actually. This one, you know. So when I was testing agent mode, we don't have that on desktop, so I tested this in Excel Online, and the first thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to go and verify the formulas. So I went to the formula tab and I looked for the trace precedence, trace dependence commands, and they're not there in Excel Online, and I went, oh. So now I got to save it, go down to desktop to go and verify the work that I can only do in online and it's just like, geez, really? Like, and you're right, Bill. I mean, there's a lot of investment that's gone into that. I'd arguably say the same thing though, in certain cases for Copilot. I mean, there's things that are being created hoping that they'll be useful, not based on user specification to say there was a need that was asked for this. And there is a ton of money going into Copilot today, massive amounts of money. And the first thing that I've seen that actually starts to deliver on that is potentially agent mode. The rest of them, honestly, I'd probably throw all of them out. Well, it's not probably, definitely throw all of them out.
Yeah,
so,
but don't you think a lot of the work that they've done with Copilot and a lot of the feedback may have fed into the agent mode?
No, I actually think agent
so?
mode was. I think agent mode was where they were trying to go all the way along. My personal feeling is that a lot of the features here, and I think we see this not on the Excel team. I think we see this throughout Microsoft. I think we see this throughout big tech as a whole. Is we've got this technology that we've built, and we know that it's going to be important in future. We are in what we're calling the AI arms race, and we don't want to be left behind. So let's just throw stuff against the wall and see if we can find a justification for this feature, for this money that we've put into place here, to see whether or not something sticks. And I feel that the entire software development industry has changed course from let's solve a user problem to let's see if our solution can fix something that we don't know what it'll actually do here yet. Hopefully it'll justify the thing. And I really, really struggle with that shift in perspective that I see in this area. So are they stepping stones? I think they had to put something out to justify the investment, but are they stepping stones that are actually useful? I question that.
All right.
Yeah, I think
I can't tell because I can't use it.
right. Yeah.
Like I said,
I think, John, I think you're closer to right, that they're just putting things out there. And if 1 out of 5 works, like agent mode actually works and is adopted, then that's good. All that other time was just filling it. You know, they had something in the Copilot panel for people to try and hate or not hate, or, you know, I don't know, right? But like it feels like they finally got well, first off, when they allowed Copilot to generate Python code, that was huge. And then when they came out with agent mode, like those two are the home runs, and really everything else should just go away.
But is Python a home run? Like honestly, the ability for Copilot to generate Python, is that a home run? Like, is that something that as a junior analyst, you're going to go in there and you're going to get something and it comes back and it has Python there and you look at it and you then go, okay, now I want to tweak this, and you've never used Python before. Is that a win? Or is that creating technical debt?
Okay, interesting question. I think, like John's argument about the charts, the data visualizations coming out of Python are better than what we have from the Ivy charts. So, you know, to a certain extent, every time I'm using Python, I'm trying to create some visualization I can't create in Excel because I'm not John.
But see, the problem I have with the Python charts is you make them, and yeah, you can then adjust them, but it's not like adjusting an Excel chart. You have an Excel chart, you want to adjust it, you go up and there's a nice UI here along the side panel of your window, and you can go here and you can change the color of that text, you can change the darkness of that line, you can format stuff. Whereas in Python, you have to Google what's the right command to do this, or you have to go to if you generate it with Copilot, you say, okay, like that, but with this color text. So, you know, Python's great and all that, but it'd be nice if it made like live Excel charts so that you could go in and tweak stuff. And I know you can't do that because just I mean, I know what you have to do to make some of these charts in Excel with a lot of hidden series and fancy formatting and stuff. So I know, that's not really practical, but that's just a drawback to the Python mode.
And to be clear, Bill, just to say, like, with this thing, I appreciate that there's stepping stones, and certainly getting Python working in the engine is a stepping stone that enables things like agent mode or whatever else. But did it need to be released into a chat window experience where it does this stuff along the way, or did you need a chat pane experience for Python, or you know what I mean? Like, was that kind of stuff all necessary? And some of these things I really wonder whether it would have been a better idea to step back and take more time. And it's kind of interesting, right? Because you see the different approaches that different agents take. Like, Apple has been criticized for being way late to the party on AI because they're trying to think about how it actually adds value, where Microsoft and others are like right up front. We're going to go and try and apply this, put this like Frank's Red Hot sauce. We're going to put it on everything and hopefully something it actually works for. They're two very different approaches to software. And I mean, personally, I'd rather see the Apple approach where they're looking at it going, let's see if we can build something that actually makes sense rather than just throw stuff against it. And we're already paying for the software. I don't think that necessarily doing experimentation on your paying software group is necessarily the ones where you should do it. Having said that, I also realize I'm in the beta channel, so I need to back up a little bit and say that that's okay. So anyway, we've talked a lot. Ilgar, do you want to weigh in on this as well?
I prefer listening to you, but I hope I'll answer to other questions. Yes.
Well, listening to us is not hard because we talk a lot. So, at any rate, Catherine, do we have another question in the queue that's not related to AI?
We do, and it's actually about Excel. Someone's already made a comment on it, but the question is: are there any things widely considered best practice in Excel that you'd actually advise against?
I can go on with to answer to yes. I was so quiet. I never ever hate so-called VLOOKUP function. I love it, although it has some minuses. But I was always thinking about one thing. There was also so-called lookup function in Excel before XLOOKUP, right? But people were not using this function. Actually, it had a lot of, it was covering a lot of stuff. It had a lot of components. But regarding the question, function that I hate, this is offset. Although I use offset function, but I'm not so good at using this one. This is the only and unique function in Excel that I hate. Not hate, just don't love. This is offset, but I'm very good. I'm okay with other Excel, say, functions. So this is my answer.
Okay, I'm just gonna check. This is to a different question. I was probably speaking too fast. I know you're reading it, so I'll go to the one that you've just read because I can see exactly what you're looking at. So this question is, as we know, some MVPs hate certain functions. The one suggested is VLOOKUP, because I know we all know someone called Liam who hates VLOOKUP. Are there any functions that you're a big fan of that are somewhat controversial? We've had Ilgar's answer. No, that's
okay. Good. Got it. The function that I don't love is one and offset, but the function that I love, my fan function, is indirect or indirect function. So it's very useful in the drop down. I'm very good at using this function, so I love it and I find it very useful. I hope this is the answer to the question this time.
I'll give you mine. Good. I have no functions that I hate. My feeling is that there are functions that are more useful than others, and as long as you know how to use the function in the right way and you understand what it's doing, I'm not going to tell you that it shouldn't be used. If I had to look in the battery of functions there's definitely functions I've never used. I don't know why we have an equals Roman function in. I'm pretty sure Bill Jelen argued for that one just so that he could actually have an Excel 40 title that he could use an Excel function to generate. But at the end of the day, I mean, VLOOKUP, look, I don't care if you want to use VLOOKUP, as long as you know how it works and why you should definitely be declaring that final parameter, fill your boots. The end result of all of these things is about making sure that you can get a definitive answer out at the end, or a, controllable answer via whatever logic you want to use, to be able to build the solution. Whatever it takes to do that, that's good by me. So
can I ask a question, Ken, then?
Yeah.
Is there anything in Excel? It can be a feature of, okay, I know that you love all the functions, but any feature, it can be also chart type you don't like in Excel.
Well, I'm not a fan of 3D charts, only because I think they really distort data. Having said that, I mean, I'm not a fan of pie charts, again, mainly because of the misuse that a lot of people put to them. Like they're okay in certain scenarios, but honestly, I mean, like I say, in any solution, there's things that are better, there's things that are worse, and I think that at the end of the day, it really comes down to, as long as you can make the program work in order to generate the response or the output that your user is looking for, we can potentially tweak them to make them more accessible, more readable, and things like that. But as long as the values underneath them are right, how you get there, to me, is really less relevant than the fact that you got there. What I tell my students always when we're looking at things is, you get paid to produce results. Your pride comes from style and being able to potentially do it faster. But at the end of the day, your boss pays you to get an accurate result out at the end. That's what you're actually, trying to achieve. So how you do it?
Actually, I was waiting for pie charts from you.
Yeah, honestly, I've made my peace with pie charts. I mean, I know that, like, if you've got something that's 3 series or whatever else, and if the goal of the chart is to show that one proportion is bigger than the rest, then a pie chart is the appropriate visual to do that, or can be the appropriate visual to do that. If you're putting 79 slices into your pie chart, you're doing it wrong. Please uninstall Excel.
Not necessarily. I've seen some effective charts that had 79 or more segments, and what makes those effective is you'll see that 1 or 2 make up half of the data, and the rest of them are, infinitesimally smaller and smaller, and it just kind of shows you, like looking at the federal budget for the United States. Defense is over a quarter of the pie.
And I'll buy
things
that,
like
John.
Social Security, and then all these other things that they're talking about cutting are such a tiny fraction that
yeah, but I would say that in those cases, you want to say, like, here's the 3 big slices and all others. And if you're trying to call out that one specific slice that is so small, then I would leave that one part in there to say, look, here's a big one, here's all others, and here's the one slice we're looking at. I think that would be a better representation, because that then shows that your one slice is the smallest part of it. So I think I wouldn't put 79 slices out there, right?
I mean, and you're not doing it so that somebody can actually compare and measure the values of each individual slice. You're just saying, here's how many slices there are, and here's how tiny most of them are. And, so you can't just make a blanket statement and say, oh, if it uses more than 3 slices, it's a bad chart. It's not necessarily the case. And even, is 3 the right cutoff, or is 5 or whatever?
But yeah, I'm wearing a shirt for my student today that says it depends.
It depends, right?
But I got to tell you, on a personal level here, I just feel like I unlocked an achievement. Here I am arguing data visualization best practice with John Pelcher. This is awesome.
Well, not for the first time either.
Well, that's fair, but maybe in public.
No, I don't know.
Maybe not.
Well, I mean, if we're discussing anything, isn't it just public by nature?
Well, maybe. There you go.
I mean, if somebody has to bang on the wall to get Ken to quiet down a little bit, it's
that's never
he's
happened.
Speaking publicly.
Never happened.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Bill, did you have thoughts on this one?
VLOOK. I'm a huge fan of VLOOKUP, and I hear Liam talk all the time about how fragile it is and how you can break it. You can break every function if you do something stupid, right? So, when I feel that Liam's being disingenuous when he talks about all the ways you can break VLOOKUP. It's like, I can break any function, Liam, if you're just going to go do the wrong thing. And XLOOKUP runs circles around VLOOKUP, but, between the index and match folks and VLOOKUP, 90% of the time, there's more people who understand what that VLOOKUP is doing, and they're gonna understand how to use your spreadsheet. So,
but part of the issue is if something is that easy to break, as Liam says, that means, somebody without very much experience is likely to break stuff. And if things are that fragile, there's something to be said that, yeah, it is fragile and people are still going to use it. I mean, I hate VLOOKUP, but for other reasons. But one example, there was a discussion we were having in some other group, and somebody posted some clickbait that was posted on LinkedIn, and somebody just used the Copilot function, and they had 3 numbers in cells, and the next cell it says add the numbers above.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there was a big thing about how, anybody who knows how to use Copilot and knows how to do this and knows how to do that knows that you have to specify this and have to specify that. If I'm fresh out, I'm an accountant, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, I'm going to write that formula, and I'm going to get it wrong because I don't know what a system prompt is. I barely know how to engineer the direct prompt that I'm writing here to sum up the numbers above this. And so if something is that easy to break, well, it needs attention.
But I think this comes down to just the design and the IntelliSense and the required parameters of the function, right? Because I remember seeing this one, and the issue that was in that is that the final parameter, which is basically give me the contextual range, is optional,
right,
not required. The same thing happens in VLOOKUP, though, right? There's optional parameters in there that completely change the way that it actually works. Right. You look at the design of something like the NPV function. I mean, that one doesn't even have an optional function in there, but it just gives the wrong answer for that most people would expect if you don't add back the original year of cash flows. So, all of those kind of things, to me, actually speak more to the design of the actual function than whether or not you can break it. And yes, we can break anything we want. Lord knows we've made a career of doing exactly that, right? And trying to figure out how do we. Well, I mean, fixing it, but I mean, sometimes we'll look at things and say, how can I break it in order to do something different and better, right? I mean, we're the kings of workarounds and hacks in a lot of cases, right? So I don't know. I mean, like I say, when I kind of look at these things, and you sit there, and there's no point in hating on a function, but you might look at it and say, well, maybe this function would be more appropriate in this scenario. And if I can steal that, Catherine, can I just lead into the other question around the best practice that was in the chat? Because so the question that was in the chat was, is there anything widely considered a best practice in Excel that you'd actually advise against? The first thing that I would advise against is actually using the term best practice. What I would actually use is the term recommended practice, because recommended is not the same in all scenarios, and best is not the same in all scenarios either. And that's one of the things that term is so loaded, like there's only one way to do things, but there isn't. And sometimes what's best here is completely the wrong thing to do over there. So it really comes down to trying to make that balance, along the way. I saw the answer that and Carl put in about using named ranges for everything. I was working on a client solution yesterday, and Jan, Carl, I know you're listening here. This one only had 11,000 named ranges in it, and I know that's way less than what you normally deal with, but I looked at that and went, oh my God, that's a lot of named ranges. But for what they're doing, it makes sense, right? And that's the kind of thing here that I would never advocate putting 11,000 named ranges in a workbook, but by the time we're done with this solution, it's probably going to have double that, because it allows us to break things apart, put them back together the way that we need, and actually have things built dynamically. So what's good here? What's good there? What's recommended? What's best? Totally subjective. So thoughts from the panel?
Does anyone else have any thoughts?
I won that one. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I just had a funny anecdote. I had a client who he had a project with a lot of names in it, and there was just weird stuff happening. And it ended up there was a bug somewhere in Excel that was causing weird stuff to happen. But I had sent the workbook to one of the Excel engineers, and he noticed there were a lot of names. And he told me that he wasn't sure if it was a critical factor that there were 666 names in that workbook.
Wow.
So
there you go.
Number of the beast, right? So anyway, Ken's story reminded me of that.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a similar story. Little company down the street from me created a simple one-page spreadsheet for them, and somehow their workflow was to take a blank copy and paste it over an existing worksheet. I don't even know what the story was, and they're like, that spreadsheet you wrote us 5 years ago, it is getting so slow. Could you come down and try and figure out what's happening on the getting so slow? And it turns out in the copy and paste, there were 3 images, like word art, I don't even know, shapes or something, right? And they were pasting those 3 images directly on top of the exact same 3 images. And when I went up to, the selection panel, they had 1,542 drawing objects on that sheet, right? That, you would try and go down one row and it would try and re-render all of those. I'm like, wow.
Yep.
And of course, you would never, without knowing that selection panel is there, you would never discover that they're all sitting right on top of each other. So that was a great, fun learning experience that day. Like, go see how many shapes there are.
Say one of the most dangerous things to bring into any program is a user, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a question for John. I have a charting question for John. Funnel charts. I've never had an occasion to use a funnel chart until last week. Someone wanted to create a funnel chart.
Right.
And in most charts, there's a way to right-click, format series, and say vary colors by point.
Yes, but see, the funnel chart is an Ivy chart.
Yeah.
So it lacks most of the useful formatting and other features of regular charts.
My funnel chart, all the slices are blue in my funnel chart.
They're all blue. Yeah, you don't have that capability. You're just stuck with it.
So here's the thing that just hacks me up. I went to agent mode and I explained the situation. Hey, create a little spreadsheet that has a funnel chart, and somehow their funnel chart has every slice in a different color, which is not valid.
It's probably a stacked bar chart where you can format each individual bar separately. It's a regular Excel chart, not a fancy Ivy chart. This is what I was talking about. What feature should they fix? And you can find a write-up on how to do it on the Peltier Tech blog. Well, no, because I don't like funnel charts. I think they've broken the metaphor. In my kitchen, in these funnels, right? You put a lot of stuff in here, and magically only some of the stuff comes out the bottom. In my kitchen, every funnel I have, everything you pour in the top, if you don't pour it too fast, comes out the bottom. And I know, it goes from big to small, but it all still goes through there. So funnel to me is a bad metaphor. But I'm not a marketing guy, so don't listen to me.
No, that I'll never have to use a funnel chart again. I'll just explain that.
Just say and besides a funnel chart, just make a bar chart, because a bar chart, instead of having the 2 sides go off like this and you lose half the resolution of your chart, if you start here and your bars go this way, you got much more resolution over, comparing the sizes and so forth. Perspective is better, yeah.
Excel 2013, they added the recommended charts to use artificial intelligence to guess what kind of chart type would be best for your data.
I'm surprised they haven't rebranded that Copilot.
Yeah, but something? What that feature recommended charts is useful for, I never use whatever chart they recommend, but I'll click on recommended charts, because then I'll pick the chart type that I want. The thing about how you want to put the top left cell blank so that it doesn't plot your years as values?
Right.
Yeah. When you select your column chart or line chart or whatever from there, and it always gives you a couple different options to choose from. The first option plots your years and your values all as Y values. The second option in that dialog uses that first column as X values, no matter what chart type it is. And I discovered this like within the past year. It's like, wow, look at this. This is great. So I never just pick one directly off the insert tab. I go to recommended charts and I select the generic chart type I want, and then I can pick the data layout I want. And
that's awesome.
So there is a use for recommended charts, but not for it to tell you what kind of chart to make.
So here's my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Every time I go to recommended charts, the first 3 make sense. Number 4 or number 5, every single time, is a funnel chart. So whoever created recommended charts had to be the funnel chart guy or girl, right? I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense is why that thing always recommends a funnel chart.
I don't know,
That's
Bill.
funny. I haven't noticed that. Now I got to look.
Yeah, look, every time. I mean, every single time it's like, oh, there's the funnel chart.
But see, you have to scroll down before you see past about 3 recommended charts. So I never noticed the funnel chart on there.
It's there every single time.
Yeah, I know. I believe you. I believe everything you say, Bill.
Watch out for that. I make a lot of stuff up.
But I still keep using tables. So
yeah, right. As long as you only copy one sheet at a time to a new workbook.
Yeah, well, that's a pain in the neck.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Like, I understand why custom views don't work. I understand why subtotals don't work, but I'm just copying 2 sheets from here to there. Like, what?
Yeah, and
Why
you can
can't
copy
do
them
that?
separately and it works fine.
It does.
But that makes no sense. That limitation, I don't know. I think there were a lot of limitations that somebody put in there, and they just said, if there's more than one sheet selected, don't copy it without any reason for that. You know, it's like there's cases built in there somewhere where, you know, if a certain thing is more than, I don't know, 2 to some power, don't do it. But now you've got, you know, 2 to the, I don't know how many, what power rows and columns. So those arbitrary limits that somebody coded don't make sense anymore. But, you know, they don't go back and fix these arbitrary limits.
Right.
You know,
okay.
You know,
so
maybe we should take the money to fix the chart, the Ivy charts, and go back and change all of these stupid little hidden arbitrary limits. And a lot of things
that would build. I can see things blowing up left, right, and center if we tried that, John.
You're
just boom.
I'm taking my enough money to fix any feature.
That's what the beta program is for, right?
I'm gonna go to the fill menu and fix justify to handle more than 256 characters. Like that 256 character limit is just ridiculous now.
Yeah.
Let's fix that. Right. That way
there's
I
a
can
lot
throw
of
away
limits
word.
You know, or it's funny, like the a lot of dialogues are just so narrow. The one for custom error bars, the dialogue itself was like 3 centimeters wide. And on top of that, the little box where you would select a range was half the width of the dialogue. So they didn't even use the whole width of this skinny little dialogue. And, you know, so I was, you know, complaining about that everywhere. And I mentioned it in blog posts wherever I talked about error bars. And, you know, I built myself a custom one where it was, you know, good 4 or 5 inches wide. I know I'm mixing inches and centimeters. And then meanwhile, one day I'm using the function in Excel and I saw, oh, wow, they made it bigger. So now it's like, instead of being, you know, 3 centimeters wide, it's about 6 centimeters wide. And the box uses most of the width of that. But again, here was an opportunity to make that dialogue resizable.
Yeah.
And then, meanwhile, you click inside, arrow once to the left, and it puts in the cell reference instead of arrowing one character to the left. And you're like,
right.
Yeah.
Or, you know, the default there, it says equals, and it puts 1 in curly brackets. That's the default thing. So if you're not careful when you're selecting a range, it goes 1 plus whatever your range is, and that's an error. But now you're at the end of this box, and it's hard to scroll to the beginning of this box to delete the erroneous entry. So anyway,
the day I learned the F2 key to turn that behavior off, so I can left arrow back through those boxes, that was a life changer.
Well, I'm always afraid.
But why isn't that the default though? Right? Like,
no, that's
I'm always
job.
afraid to push it because I'm afraid I'll push it,
tell people,
and then you know, it's crazy.
Sometimes I question why the defaults are set the way they are. Often I question why the defaults are set the way they are. But yeah, that one drives me nuts.
macro recorder was in relative mode, far more macros would work out of the box. But
probably
it's too late now.
You're right.
Yeah, well, that one's not going to get any more investment either, is it?
So, no, that one definitely won't. But
yeah, unfortunately. But can you do? Oh well.
Ilgar, would you like to ask your own question so you can get a word?
Yes, actually, I have 2 questions, and I would be very happy to hear your answers, short answers. So my first question is, When all chart types are going to be available in pivot chart? That's my first question. The second one is, do you think we are entering a phase where understanding the story behind data becomes more important than writing formulas? So these two questions.
Okay, pivot
First
charts.
of all, you can make any kind of chart from a pivot table. It won't be a pivot chart.
Pivot charts.
It won't be a pivot chart, but it'll be a chart. And then you got to manually adjust it.
I tell you what, I think the
But-
pivot chart thing is going to get fixed sooner than anything, because look at all the other pivot table. I'm not naming names, but when our 30-year veteran who retired from the pivot table team, and we got this great new project manager, all kinds of things are getting fixed. The auto refresh, the formatting from the original grid getting copied into the pivot table, things that we thought would never get fixed are now fixed. So maybe waterfall charts from pivot tables just anytime soon in the next 10 years or 30. So
That's a good point, Bill.
Maybe. Yep, that's possible.
I just want to give you a 5-minute warning because the session's going to stop in 5 minutes, okay?
but
You
and
can
not
go
the
to
data
the
model
end,
pivot
that's
tables.
not a problem. And then everyone can join the next session when it starts. And then
So
it'll be John's
whichever
session.
one of us is still talking at the end of 5 minutes
Turn
wins.
the lights off.
Yeah, is that how it goes? Okay, I'm putting my bet on myself. Yeah, Bill, no data in the model pivot tables. I agree. I mean, I think that one's a sad and unfortunate possible reality. I mean, I really hope that that's going to end up changing at some point in time. But, I mean, your hope would be that if they're going to light up the general chart types for pivot tables as a whole, that they would also pull more data model stuff in there as well. But because it's the pivot table underlying architecture, the data set shouldn't matter in my opinion, but we'll see. Elgar, to your question of do we think we're getting into a world where we're focused on interpreting the results rather than actually writing formulas? I think there's still very much going to need going to remain a need for both. I worked as an accountant for a long time, and one of the things that was very obvious to me working through industries is even when we got things like industry standard, every industry adapts the standards to work their own way and do different things. In order to do that, you're going to have to write some different logic, and that's going to involve writing formulas, writing code, doing whatever in order to be able to report the way that you want. I cannot think of a single software that I have ever worked with that's come in and said, hey, we've got the canned report that works exactly the way that you actually want to work. There's always customization needed. Should there be more focus on the interpretation? Sure, but unless you have a standard that you can apply to every industry, which will never happen, that's not going to be the case. I see a question for if people want to see more of these hairy creatures here, you got to look up. There you go. So we got a few of these guys running around, but yeah. So anyway, so I mean that's my thoughts. Like I think you're still going to be doing both. I mean, should we be educating people more on interpretation standards? Yes, but there's also got to be a crew of people that actually go out and build them. But that's been the same story forever, and I don't think that's ever going to change. So that's my thoughts.
Anyone else got anything to add to that one?
Need a mic to drop.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
Okay. We can finish on a quick one then, which is you're all obviously great MVPs. How difficult was it to become an MVP? How much work went into it?
It was way different way back then.
Mm.
Way back then,
Yeah.
I just sat on the news groups, an hour every evening after dinner, and I typed answers to questions and so forth. And I got an email from somebody at Microsoft saying, "Hey, you want to be an MVP?" And I'm like, "What, me?" Things were different then. Now it's crazy because people nominate themselves, and it goes to whoever's loudest on social media, it seems. And and I understand that's important. It to add to the buzz of Excel and so forth. But there's something to be said for someone who just goes in and slogs along and posts a thing here and there and so forth. I mean, I find it much harder to renew every year now than it was to be named in the first place.
I agree. Yeah, it definitely is more difficult. I mean, as far as how much work is it, it's a lot. I mean, the effort that we put into creating new content, to speaking at different events and whatever else, takes a very large amount of time. And the other thing that people need to realize about it is that you don't get paid for that time, right? It is voluntary, and it is consuming. So there's a cost to us for doing this kind of stuff, but fortunately I guess for people that like to listen to us, it's hard for us to stop. So
Right. Yeah. People are like, hey, how much stuff should I have to do to become an MVP? And it's, no, you're not trying to become an MVP. You're doing this because you enjoy doing this.
Because
Yes.
you enjoy doing it and you like helping people.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. All right. Probably at the end of the hour there.
We are at the end of the hour, so we're going to get people to join the next session now, which is day 1, part 4, I believe. I think Oscar's going to put it into the
yeah,
chat.
and that's
the
actually
people.
my session. So I
Yeah,
better
that will
get
be
over
your
that.
session. Yeah.
Right.
So,
So as soon
all
as
right,
you
hey,
can't
this
be in
was
2
fun,
places at
guys.
once.
As you
yeah, it's good
Yeah.
good to talk
Yeah,
to you.
it was
And
really
Yep.
good. Thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Thank
a
you.
lot of fun. I don't know if anybody else watched, but the few of us right here, we were very amused.
Yeah. Right.
we always amuse ourselves.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's people watching, and we'll put it all on the website as well, because everyone's definitely recorded this year. We've had no issues with Microsoft Teams, so we're all good.
All right.
Perfect.
And I'll
Good.
put a
Well,
nice picture for Bill, maybe an AI thing, so it looks like he's talking.
Yeah, that's right. Just
That's
There you
good.
go.
Yeah. All right.
get a picture off the cover of one of his books. That'll be
There
good.
you go. Yeah. All right. Cheers.
Awesome. All right.
Okay,
thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So
Thank you.
long.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.